Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to 7th Street.
This is about power. Power and sacrifice.
So, it looks like there's a new Amityville horror movie being released this year, and in honor of one of my favorite film series, I thought we would take a look at one of its long-forgotten sequels, Amityville 1992. It's about time.
Amityville 1992. It's about time.
Yeah, no, that's actually the name of the movie.
My life is a mess, Andrea. And you ruined it!
The original Amityville Horror is one of my favorite ghost movies of all time. I can still remember being really disturbed by it the first time I saw it back in grade school. You see, back in the mid-90s, one could get a pretty decent horror movie education just by watching AMC on Friday nights, Sci-Fi Channel on Saturday nights, and TNT on Sundays. For a while in the early 2000s, AMC would play the first two Amityville horror films like clockwork. Those movies became a staple of my childhood and one of my favorite film series of all time. I can honestly say that I have rented and watched every single Amityville horror film.
I'm coming apart! Oh, Mother of God, I'm coming apart!
When I decided to do an Amityville horror video, I had a really hard time deciding which one of the sequels I wanted to do. At the top of the list, you have great ones like Amityville 2: The Possession, and at the bottom of the barrel, you have the horrible abomination that is the Amityville Dollhouse. But somewhere in between the genius of the series and the crap lies Amityville 1992: It's About Time.
Bye.
And the real reason that I chose this film, I was born in 1992, so of course I feel some undeserved connection to this movie. Amityville 1992 is the story of a widowed father named Jake who returns from a business trip in Amityville. He brings home with him a gift for his two teenage kids, an old mantle clock. But what he doesn't know is the clock has an evil past, being created by a 15th century French necromancer. The clock is also somehow tied to the evil past of Amityville, and soon after placing it on the fireplace mantle, Jake is attacked by a local neighborhood dog, leaving his ex-girlfriend Andrea to take care of him.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no!
I need the...
Ah! I don't think you're supposed to clean a wound like that. As Jake's son grows closer to finding out the legend of the clock, all hell begins to break loose as people around them begin to die. To say the least, Amityville 1992 is very different from the other films in this series. First of all, it has very little to do with the Amityville house. Every time I'm watching this film, I'm convinced that the original story was just called It's About Time. I imagine that someone over at Republic Pictures had the idea of crowbarring in the Amityville aspect to cash in and make a little more money. You know, I can't say that I disagree with the decision, though. If it weren't for the Amityville title, I probably would have never bothered to watch this movie.
No, he'll be fine. He's just gonna sleep. God knows he can use it. And Grover's told me that medical transport's on the way over, and by God, if I have to forge the documents myself, he's gonna go get taken care of, okay? Come on.
The funny thing is, I appreciate this movie mostly for its flaws. The film is trying to be a lot better than it is. The overall story is interesting, and it has a lot of creepy elements, especially the aspect of losing time.
This guy at school once brought a coroner's casebook, and in it was how they found this old lady. She died a week before and no one knew, except her poodle, who started getting hungry. By the time they found her, the little mutt had put on a few pounds, and the old lady had lost some, if you know what I mean. The thing that I keep thinking about is, when did the poodle decide to eat her? I mean, it's not the first thing he thought of. He must have sat around expecting dinner as usual, and then said, fuck this, she's kibble, taking a bite. Where do you think he started?
happened to you?
But unfortunately, the movie is just a little all over the place, and for whatever reason it doesn't really work on a good sense.
I'm a little under the weather, huh? Perhaps not up to speed, but I've got work to do, and you're not helping me.
Being an amateur filmmaker myself, I have sort of a soft spot for films that are interesting and different, but completely plagued by production flaws. For example, this film was shot almost completely on a soundstage, which gives it sort of a surreal look, which works in its favor. It's sort of what the mood of the film is. But unfortunately, it also gives it a cheap look.
What are you doing down there?
Jesus, shit, Dad, you scared the crap out of me.
The film also struggles to find its identity. It seems as though the filmmaker couldn't really decide whether he wanted to play up the campy cheese factor or not. It drastically switches from dead serious to goofy from scene to scene.
Yeah, I'm a psychiatrist.
A doctor. Sick is sick, right? Whether it's upstairs or down the basement.
Another issue this movie has is the fact that there are too many interesting aspects that are never fully developed. Each character sort of has their own storyline. The father being possessed by the evil in his house, the ex-girlfriend trying to save the family that she still secretly loves, the brother and the psychic uncovering the mystery of the clock, and the shy sister being transformed into a scandalous man-killer. All of these ideas are cool and could have easily been the focus of the entire movie, but instead they're very loosely explored. It kind of leaves you wondering who the fuck the main character even was. Seriously, I have zero clue whose point of view this story is told from. It may seem like I'm just bashing on this film, but like I said, the flaws are the reason that I like this movie. You can sort of see where they were trying to go with it. You can sort of see why the director made some of the decisions that he did. They just didn't work out for the better. As far as highlights go, well, there is the actor who was obviously hired for his gigantic package.
Hey, what's the fuck? I'm sinking.
Yeah, that's a big old dick. We also get a cameo from one of my favorite character actors, Dick Miller.
Lucky? Yeah.
Lucky the neighborhood didn't get torn.
So how's Mr. Sterling doing?
But easily the biggest highlight is the incredibly insane way in which this movie ends. I'm not gonna ruin it. Words couldn't do it justice. You're just gonna have to see it yourself. But know that it includes death by stereo, characters being changed into babies, explosions, and a title drop.
What the hell was that all about?
It's about time, that's what.
Amityville 1992, It's About Time, definitely begs the question, why doesn't anyone reference this film?